Hello everybody and welcome back. Tonight I'd like to talk about the Dogman reports that come in as I've been asked this week about the British Dogman accounts, and I have to admit, like most people, I know very little about them. I have heard many theories and ideas on who and what they are, and I myself am unsure and I don't feel qualified to answer the question. But what I can do, I think, is to share the reports I have, and anyone wanting to research them can then do so as they wish. It is a tricky subject here in the UK, due to the odd lie and exaggeration by some untrustworthy people. But when the truth is told, this amounts to nothing more than hearsay and half-truth, and it leaves us with valid witnesses, valid accounts, just like the Wildman accounts that come in. The people with the accounts are the ones we should listen to, and like all subjects, it is easy to fear the unknown and to demonise the things we don't understand. But it's only by opening up to all of the possibilities that we can start to pick away at the truths. Like the Wildman research, we can only go off what we see and hear, and the experiences of the witnesses themselves, and the honesty and the intent of the person they tell. Here are a number of accounts of the Dogman in the British Isles, and I would like to thank Guy Fawkes for asking me the question that made me think about my own bias on the subject. It's time to start afresh and to try and see what is happening on the ground in reality, and to give the subject the respect it deserves. People are seeing and reporting tall, dog-like creatures and figures with pointed ears and snouted faces, up on two legs and walking like a man, often seen rising or falling to all fours, and with speeds that can keep up with and sometimes outrun a car travelling at around 35 miles per hour. These are just a small selection of the accounts, and this is the first one. This is the creature of Loch Morar, and this happened in the 1950s in Scotland. And the witness reported that she had seen what she described as a hairy man with a wolf's head roaming near Loch Morar, a Scottish loch that notably also has a long-standing lake monster legend attached to it, and that it was further described as walking on 2 feet, but sometimes running on all fours. The witness, now in her 70s, described seeing the creature at a distance of about 70 feet, and said that it stared at me in a horrible way before bounding away. The next account is the Old Barn Wolfman from the 1970s. In the early hours of a winter morning, on a stretch of road outside the Scottish town of Old Barn, the witness was a mailman on his way to work. He described seeing the creature racing along the road at very high speed in the opposite direction to that in which he was travelling. The beast totally ignored the shocked driver, who continued on his journey in a highly agitated state, not quite believing what it was that he had just seen. But he was sure on the facts that at around 3 a.m, and for a few brief seconds, he had encountered a tall, man-like figure with wolf-like features, hurtling along the road at breakneck speed. Then we have the Helmsley Wolfman report, and this is from the 2000s, so a much more recent report. My experience goes back to 2 years ago in North Yorkshire, to what I can only be described as seeing a werewolf. I'm a logical person, and to me they are something from horror films and science fiction and don't exist. But after hearing what I heard and seeing what I saw, I now believe differently. I've Googled ever since to see if anyone has seen anything in that area, but never found anything. It's the first time I've posted, as obviously posting that I'd seen a werewolf leaves me open to ridicule. Put it this way, I won't camp on the moors again. I went for a walk outside my motorhome and can only describe hearing what was a blood-curdling howl, exactly as you would imagine from a movie. I heard them to the side of me, so I decided to walk back to the van, and then the howls were in front of me. So yes, I started to do a fast walk. Then I saw the shape of something shaggy on 2 legs, and it was behind my motorhome, stood up. It was about 6 feet tall and shaggy with glowing red eyes and stood on 2 legs. It was not a dog. This was far too big. I've had dogs all my life, and I've never heard a howl as deep or as loud. Plus, I've never heard my dog howl like this. There was no one around for miles. A pretty remote place, no animals, no farm animals. It was exactly as you would imagine from the horror movies. But I didn't see it up close. Instead, I legged it as fast as I could. I saw the shape of it from a distance, and I heard it following me. And it was to the side of me. It moved really quick. It was wandering outside my van for a while, a good 20 minutes. It sounded like it was underneath the vehicle at one point. To be honest, I sat in there quiet and was too scared to look out the window. No one was playing a prank. I got out, and in the morning there was nothing, no evidence. I went to the spot where it would have been stood, and I estimate it was around 6 feet tall. I had lit a fire earlier outside, so I'm presuming seeing the fire in the middle of nowhere attracted it. It was foggy, and it wasn't camping season, and there was only me out there in the camper van, but there were no footprints around the van in the morning. And then we have a count from the 1980s, and this is the Black Mountains werewolf. I think, once again, this is somebody camping. The witness report. The witness said, "I saw something when I was younger, and here is my story. I was about 19, and me and my girlfriend and my 3 best pals went camping in the Black Mountain in Wales. We went to the local pub, had a few, and drove back to our campsite in the middle of nowhere, in a glade surrounded by woods. Myself and my girlfriend had one tent, and my pals had another. And upon settling down for the night, I found out I had no smokes, so I made up the tale that someone was outside our tents. One of my brave pals got out of his tent and had a look around, and while he was up, I asked for a pack of cigarettes. My pals realised my ruse and entered my tent and playfully duffed me up. But about an hour or so later, my girlfriend woke me saying, 'Someone is outside.' So thinking it was my pals getting back at me, I shouted out, 'I know it's one of you.' But each one answered from their tent, 'No, not us.' So I grabbed my torch and I left the tent. It was pitch black, and I heard something make a run for it as I left the tent, and I scanned the tree line quickly with my torch. And as the beam went to the left, then to the right, it passed a shadow, a human-shaped shadow, but its eyes reflected like a cat's, but they were red. I shone my torch at it and saw a humanoid figure run through the woods on all fours. I screamed and told my mates and my girlfriend, but they thought I was taking the mickey. I still have the image in my mind, and it was a werewolf. The witness then went on to say, when my torch first hit the creature, it was on 2 legs, but then, when my torch went back to it, it was on all fours, running away through the trees. Now, these reports are just a very small sample of the many Dogman reports I've taken or I've come across on the web. And I wonder if some of the Wineman or Dogman accounts are of the same creature or are reported in a way that the witness can make sense of. But they do seem to fall into 4 groups, and I've tried to show this on the map with the icons. We have the wild man or the British Bigfoot accounts, and they are described as upright, tall, human, hairy, ape man. No ears on top of the head, no snout, face like a human. Then we have the Dogman or the werewolf, and that's a wolf-like human figure with a snout and ears on top of its head, and some accounts of tails, but not always. Then we have the tall, dark human figure, once again taller than an average man, moving quickly, upright on 2 legs, but no discernible features, so that's why we just put it into the tall, dark human figure category. And then you have your wolf-like creature, which is a dog or wolf-like animal, down on all fours at all times. Normally a tail and snout, usually described as wolf-like, but much larger and stronger. Adding to these all the black shucks, boggarts, padfoots, bullbeggars, and all the other local and regional names, there is a wealth of accounts of all kinds of earthwalkers. Some we haven't even heard of yet, no doubt. The reports come in all shapes and sizes, and cover every county in the UK. Over the coming months, I hope to share them here with you. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with lots of Dogman reports and lots of Bigfoot reports, because we've still got a few hundred to go. So until next time, thank you very much. Goodbye.